All right, first of all, thank you for being here. And I'm really looking forward to having this conversation, especially since the last couple of years, Bangladesh has been all over the news and people's attention have been there. But before we get to where the country is right now or how it went there, let's start with what Bangladesh is. Me being someone who has never been to Bangladesh, how would you explain Bangladesh to me?
First of all, thank you for having me.
Yep.
And coming to Nepal is it's been like my second home for many years. I've been coming to Nepal for like 20 years now.
Wow.
So it's always good to be here.
How did you come to Nepal when you started coming here earlier, in the early days?
First time I came for work. At the time, I used to work for a South Asian network on rivers and dams and communities affected by the rivers.
Okay.
The secretariat was here. So I was working at the secretariat for like 1 year, 2024 to 2005. And after the declaration of emergency, the secretariat was transferred to India. But since then, I've been coming to this country.
Before we start with what Bangladesh is, a short introduction on you as well. Please define your work. What are you doing these days?
I've been in the NGOs and development sectors for most of my career, working with the local communities, farmers, helping them raise incomes, organizing farmers, claiming their rights over land. I worked with landless communities for many years. Also on policy issues, like learning from the communities and translating their experience into tangible, actionable alternative policies that have worked for many years, nationally and internationally. Monitored international financial institutions and its impact on local communities. Well, then I moved on to private sector, working in the food sector, not in the food processing, but working with agricultural value chain. So again, coming back to work with the farmers. And now I'm building an alternative finance startup. Non-credit, we will not provide credit. This is an interesting sector, a lot of digitizations happening, and there are many interesting models that can help the farming communities and also agricultural commodity traders. And I'm writing.
Yeah. I think that's one of the most significant part that you mentioned at last. Like you're writing. How's the journey been so far?
Well, it's interesting. I mean, I've been wanting to write for some time.
Yeah.
Never happened. And in some way, NGO work is not helpful for writing because NGO literature is often like going round and round, round and round. It's often like the same literature that you saw 10 years ago and coming back to again and going round and round in the same vocabulary. And so that didn't help. But once I left the NGO sector, that also gave me time to go back to reading. And this was also the same time I kind of disconnected myself from the social media. I was away from social media for 5-6 years.
Okay, completely disconnected.
Yeah, completely disconnected, except for maybe messaging my friends. Yeah, I had my Facebook account or others, but I didn't log on, I think, since 2019. Well, now I'm back since I'm writing, so I'm posting my work and to see how people are responding to writing. And this disconnection, I mean, staying away from social media, I think it's been helpful.
Helpful in what sense?
Well, social media always engages you issues of immediacy, like you feel like responding, and also you're always dealing with like now, less time for contemplation or like what do you call historical retrospection or even theoretical analysis, because there's so much informations.
Yep.
Yeah. So at some point I realized that okay, my friends are putting their food photos and I'm just scrolling and
You should start writing, posting as well.
no, I just totally disconnected.
Yeah. Too much of food photos.
I had too much of food photos and the holidays and everything.
Yeah.
But since I've come back, I see social media. Well, now probably has more advertisement.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Or maybe we don't even know what's advertisement and what's not. That distinction is gone totally.
Yep. And it used to be something we would be connected to. I mean, it's a relatively new phenomenon that we are following celebrities and then or other famous figures or news channels and stuff like that. Because earlier, the early version of social media, as I remember, it was basically you just connecting with friends. That was about it. Didn't care about news, didn't care about the advertisements or following celebrities or influencers. None of that existed, or even
that
news
was
channels.
a fun time. You could suddenly find your high school friend somewhere, suddenly just appear on your feed.
Yeah, plus, I mean, people would feel encouraged to post as well because now you see all these, everything is glamorized and everything is so perfect. I mean, like, you think 10 times before posting a picture of yourself, right? And then that has created more divide, I guess.
Yeah. Encouraged or like compelled. Sometimes you feel compelled.
True. To post just for engagement, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because, and also wait for how many likes you get.
Oh, yeah. That's the most draining part of it, I know, if you get into that conversation. But I mean, it's all fun and good. So coming back to Bangladesh, how do you define Bangladesh to someone like me?
I think Bangladesh has come a long way. I mean, since 1971. The similarities with Bangladesh and Nepal is that, well, we are small countries. We used to be poor, like Bangladesh used to be considered, the term, the basket case or that. But over the last, since 1971, since Liberation War, and especially in the last 30 years, we have witnessed very rapid economic growth, which has improved the life quality of people. A number of things contributed to it. Many of the things happened organically, not necessarily because of very organized government efforts. No, there are many things that happened. People did it on their own. Because for a long time, state has not been the enabler the way it should be. So people actually had to find their way to survive, to make their life better. So many poor people, they went to Middle East to work. Like we have 9 to 10 million people working in the Middle East and Malaysia and other places. And they send back money. And now, unlike the middle class or other people, like highly educated people who migrate to Western countries, who do not send back much, but these poor people, they send back and the money goes to the villages. And then we also, the RMG industry, it also contributed.
What industry?
Ready-made garments industry.
Okay, yeah, it's very big, right? I mean, like, it was back in 2015, 16. I used to produce a bit of merchandise or clothing, and then that's when I got to know Bangladesh is like one of the largest exporter of.
Yeah, I think right now we are the second largest exporter.
Okay.
In the world, so which is a big thing.
So is that what one of the industries that's driving the economy?
Like exclusive. There's like the not like I mean, that is definitely the number one export item.
Okay.
And the second highest is like far below RMG. But what happens with RMG export is that it's very labor intensive industry.
Yeah.
Especially many women work in this sector because they need the nimble fingers. And now they also send back money to the home. So these two, the workers in the Middle East, the expatriate and the remittance they send, and also the RNG workers. And the third thing I would add to it is often criticized, often rightly so, but the NGOs and the microcredit sector. What NGOs did is it made development efforts more focused, more targeted, because state has, in our part of the world, state has not been so efficient of working with the local communities. Now, what NGOs did, they brought the local communities to the policymakers, to engage with the policymakers. And microcredit, now let me give you an example.
Okay.
I think earlier we were talking about it. See, there's a policy that if you are a graduate and if you have certificate, so if you go to a bank and against that certificate, you are entitled to get like ৳1 million credit to start something of your own. But of course, it doesn't happen. It's not so easy. Like I remember when we were coming out of the university, buying a computer was so important. It felt like opening a new world. But then, well, banks also have programs to give you loan to buy computers. But I didn't find many young students getting loan from the banks to buy computers. Now, on the other hand, NGOs are going to the local communities, to the local women, and giving them money. Now, interest rates, high. There could have been better policies to make it more, and the interest rate could have been more favorable to the local people. But I think that even with that high interest rate, the sector has grown so much bigger and faster than the mainstream banking system. So now you have 3 sources of investments that coming into the rural areas. Now what it is doing is that now the farming communities, the people in the villages, now they have money to do things. They can buy land, they can buy a cow, they can invest in agriculture or to send their kids to school or maybe to buy shampoo. Now, talking about shampoos or like other small things,